guys, it's Craig Wilkinson and I'm here to answer your burning dad questions. And this is the first in a series where I'll be answering the questions that you posed to me, and they've been pouring in from around the world, and I'm just so excited to be responding to very real questions from very real men who want to be really good dads. As many of you know, I'm a father of two kids, Luke, who's now almost 30, Blythe, my daughter, who's 26, a little bit further down the journey than a lot of you guys who are just starting out or just into the toddler years. Thank you for all the questions that have flown in. What's so beautiful about these questions is that many of them are a similar theme, and there are many questions that keep cropping up over and over and over again. I've decided to read to you one of the questions, which is a question that I'm very commonly asked. This is from a dad, and he says, I'm a dad of a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. I've stumbled and bumbled my way through the first 4 years of being a dad. I grew up without any real father figure in my life. My dad left when I was 2 years old, and none of my mom's boyfriends ever stuck around for long. I guess my question is, what advice do you have for someone that's just making it up as they go, since they had no foundation to build off of? I understand that a blank slate can be better than some circumstances, but the guesswork has been exhausting, to say the least. I get this question in many different forms. I get a lot of guys coming to me and saying, I feel like a bit of a fraud. I've got a bit of an imposter syndrome. Am I the dad that they need me to be? Am I up to this? What's so beautiful about this question, or so encouraging, is that you're not alone. This is a question that's in the hearts of men around the world. It's in the minds of men around the world. It's probably the most common question men have, and not just on the issue of fatherhood. It's the question of, as a man, am I enough? Do I have what it takes? There's a sense of inadequacy. There's kind of secret fear that whatever life asks of me, I don't really have what it takes to answer that question, to come and be the man that I'm expected to be. And it crops up very powerfully in fatherhood. Children don't pop out of the mother's womb with a little manual in hand that says, hey dad, this is how you do it. But I just want to share a few things that really helped me, and I think and hope will really help you in overcoming this imposter mentality and overcoming the sense of inadequacy. Am I going to be a good dad? Am I going to screw this up monumentally? And my kids are going to be in therapy for the rest of their lives. The first thing to remember is that your kids are all in. There is no one in the world who wants a better relationship with you than your children. They're in. You don't have to persuade them. You don't have to win them over. They want to have an awesome relationship with you, their father. And when you're building a relationship on the foundation of someone wanting with all of their heart and all of their might to have a great relationship with you, you come from such an advantage point of view. You don't have to win them over. They want this. They want this more than you do. And so that's just a great foundation to start with. And it means stepping up and saying, I'm going to take advantage of this. I'm going to make sure that I do step up and I do give to them what they need from me. So number one, they're all in, man. They're all in. You don't have to win them over. Number two, and this should inspire you, not scare you. You are the most important man in your children's lives. Hands down, you're the most important man. You are your son's first hero. You are your daughter's first romance. I tell this story over and over again because it's such a moving story to me. When my daughter was only 2.5 years old, doctors came to us and said she'd need a small operation on her heart. There was a small hole in one of the walls of her heart and that she'd need to have corrective surgery. And when the day came for surgery for her to go through into theater, she was petrified. She really was scared. And I went to the doctor, the surgeon. I said, please, can I just carry her into surgery just to allay her fears? And he said, look, we don't normally do that, but we'll make an exception. So I had to scrub up, wash up, put the mask on, put the gown on, and they allowed me to carry her into theater. They even allowed me to hold the gas mask which went over her face, which put her to sleep. And she fell asleep in my arms at rest because her dad was there. I handed her over to the surgeon. Operation was a great success. With technology these days, instead of open heart surgery, it's a catheter, a little device pops up and skin grows over. Phenomenal. Operation was a great success. She was out the next day, and a month later, we were at my house and we were having a cookout outside in the yard, and I had a bunch of mates around, and one of my friends looked at her and said, Blythe, I believe that you were in hospital recently. And she looked up at him and she said, yes. She said, my heart was broken. She said, but my daddy fixed it. And I tell you guys, it just actually blew me away. Tears came. I had to excuse myself and regain my composure and masculinity. But the gift she gave me then was the gift of seeing myself through her eyes. And I realized I did hold her heart in my hands in many ways, and I held the heart of my son in my hands in many ways. This can be a scary thing. I'm the most important man in their lives. They look at me as their hero. But it's also the most inspiring thing, because what they need of you and I as fathers is for us to be our best. And for me, that became an inspiration to say, I'm gonna be the best version of Craig that I can possibly be, because they need me to be that. And so this is a fantastic inspiration to be that man. It's a motivation beyond anything else. They need you. Not just need you, they need you to be your best. So man, what greater motivation to be your best. The third thing I would suggest is ask for directions. Ask for directions. They don't come with a manual, as I said. And us as men, we're notoriously bad at asking for help and directions. I heard a beautiful thing the other day. It said that there's no such thing as a stupid question. There's only such thing as a stupid person because they didn't ask enough questions. And there's so much information out there nowadays available to men as fathers. Join groups of men who want to be better dads. And there are groups of men all over the world who want that. Watch YouTube clips, read books, get a bunch of guys that are on the same age and stage as you as a father, and chat to them. Be that one guy that says, I want to ask the questions. Be that one guy that shares. We don't have to just talk about sport and women and money and economics. Be that one guy who says, I want to talk about stuff that may make me feel a bit vulnerable, but it's the stuff that I'm really dealing with, that I'm struggling with. And you'll find that your other mates, the other guys in your group, are going to be so grateful to you, because these things are on the heart of every man. And as we begin to chat about them and talk about them and collaborate, build that band of brothers, man, we can really help each other to be better fathers and hold each other accountable to be better fathers. It's absolutely crucial to have this band of brothers, this group of friends, and also mentors. And a mentor you don't have to know, you don't have to meet. A mentor can be someone who lives in a different country to you, but that puts out great YouTube clips or writes excellent stuff, or is a blogger. There's no reason not to have tremendous input from men who are going through the same stuff as us or have been through it. The next thing I would say to you is work on yourself as a man. Your greatest fathering tool is you. It's such a beautiful thing to know that. Your greatest fathering tool is not learning techniques about how to discipline and how to do this and how to deal with that. Your greatest fathering tool is yourself as a man. Your kids are going to look at who you are and the way you are, the way you behave, and the way you conduct yourself, far more than the things that you say to them. You don't have to get it right all the time. Just be and become the best version of yourself you can possibly. Use that inspiration that they need me to be me, and they need me to be the best me. To work on yourself as a man. It's a process. It's a journey. I'm in my 50s. I'm still working on myself as a man. There's still areas I screw up completely, and I'm still growing and developing as a man. But the more we're committed to doing that, the more we become the man that they need us to become. And finally, I would say to you as a father who's worried about, do I have what it takes? Am I enough? Am I going to screw this up? There is no such thing as a perfect father. And that's perfectly okay. There's no way that you can be a perfect father. But there are a million ways in which you can be an excellent father, a good father, a great father. And that's so encouraging. One of the greatest gifts I've ever received in my whole life was when my son turned 18. And he wrote me a letter. And the letter started with, "Dear Dad, I just want to thank you for being my best friend, my brother, but most importantly, my dad." It was an absolute tearjerker. He went on to write a fairly long letter, and I quote the letter in full in the book that I wrote called Dad, How to Be the Father Your Children Need. Because for me, that was the greatest endorsement I ever got as a father, was from my own son. And you can have that. Every one of us can have that. Just by becoming the man they need you to be, by asking for directions, by working on yourself as a man, by realizing perfection is out of the question, but we can be good dads. And we're going to screw up. But when we screw up, we pick ourselves up, we apologize, we dust ourselves off, and we get back on that saddle of being a father. It's the most inspiring journey you'll ever go on. It's the greatest motivation to be the best person you can possibly be. And to be that most important man in someone's life is such a beautiful gift, such a sacred responsibility. And let me tell you this, guys, you do have what it takes. You are up to the task. You're not alone with men around the world who think, can I do this? Will I screw up? No, you won't screw up. The very fact that you're asking that question, the very fact that you think you might screw up and you're scared of screwing up, means you probably won't, because you're invested in not screwing up. You're invested in being a good father, and you realize the responsibility that it is. So guys, let's band together, man. Let's work together. Let's chat to each other. Let's get involved in this all-important role of being great fathers to our sons, great fathers to our daughters. Power to you, man, as you get this thing right.